generally what's going on. It's larger. Okay. All right, cool. So I can generally make out some things. I'm going to do some color coding first to start and move some stuff around so that I can make some organization happen. Let's just color all the vocals orange right now. I can tell they're all vocals because they were cool enough to label them all vocals. Big fan of that. All right, moving on. I haven't even heard anything yet. Keep it in mind. I'm just going to start organizing. I always organize the same way. Kick, snare, drum stuff all the way to the top. All the drum stuff goes to the top. Percussion goes to the top. Hat, drums, drums, drums. This all looks like drums, drums, drums. Cool. Amazingly, this person did a really good job of organizing these, at the very least, with some names. So I can see all of these are instruments. All of these are drums and percussion. I could see that anyway, just by the way. Like, this might throw me off a little bit. It does look percussive whenever you zoom in, but out here it could have been anything, you know. That could have been a guitar. But you can generally see everything looks a bit like percussion. Everything looks like one solid level of percussion, too. First thing I'll notice. All right, I'm going to finally listen to this and so I can get a BPM. Oops. I tapped that 142. Looks like I might be close. Is it the same off everywhere? No, no. Although it does look like maybe. I should just get a click. Sometimes it's annoying when you can't. There's 3 ways that I do this. First, I'll do this. Because if somebody didn't bounce it on the grid, there's like no way to really tell if you're getting close to the tempo or if it's off. Okay, so that looks like it's off. So I'll go tempo. Let's call it 140. Yep. Okay, so 140. Usually you can guess pretty easy with tempos. People don't normally do 140.256. You know? So if you were pretty close at some point, you probably got it right. I just moved something wrong or some shit. I gotta figure out what's going on there. Fucking thing back online. Cool. All right, back to the top. Let's actually listen to see what's going on. Okay, I get it. I know what's going on. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, even though I imported it right at bar 1, beat 1, I want to give myself 2 bars of head space at the top. Just so I can have some room, because there's certain things that feel a little off about this. All right, so I pretty much have it all laid out as a starting point. Now I'm going to start getting serious about my labeling and stuff. So for example, I'll start looking at filtered snare loop. That kind of goes with my kick and snares, claps, fills. This is all real drum stuff versus like, you know, extra drum stuff. Cymbals, because they're all together, I'll probably put them together. This is probably a sample. Yeah. Stuff like that I do usually like being up towards the top. Seems like it goes with those claps anyway. Let's make the claps one color. Hello, perk loop, ride, shaker, snare. Goes up here. Effects fill. So let's put all the symbols. different blue. Sometimes, if I don't even really know what they are, just make them all a different color than what I have right now. I don't know why. I always like to make base like deep orange. Does it for me. This is a lead. Lead's like a yellow color to me. This might be like some sort of weird synesthesia thing too. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. It's purple. Somebody's like, when he said purple, I felt that. Alright, that's another lead. That one's like that color. Pads. Oops. See, those are pads. No. Yeah. Okay. Great. All right. So I have all that stuff. I am going to now at this point mute all the vocals. I don't need them for a while. I know generally what they're doing. Now it's time to start mixing. Really. It's actually like most of this stuff is pretty well organized in terms of what it is. So it's like I don't have to do a lot. First thing I'm going to do is put all of this stuff out. Instrument track. Wow, not good. There we go. All right, setting everything out in instrument track. And putting that instrument track between my instruments and vocals. That's like the separator, and then it also like used the stars to keep things like nice and organized, you know? I like it like that. I did not, if you'll notice, put my drums out anything yet, but I am going to send out all the drums to drums and perk. Let's put 2 stars. This isn't like a real bus. This is like a sub bus. Then I'm going to send that to the instrument bus as well. So now my drums are going to a drum and perk bus, but also then to the instrument bus. Now my vocals, I'm going to, for the time being, send them all out a all vocals bus. But as I go through these and start organizing them, which I can see like these are probably backgrounds and stuff like that. These are, when you have multiple things in an area, they're going to be stacks of some type. So they'll probably go through some sort of bus together. But for the time being, I'm just going to send them all out in all Vox bus and then not worry about it. All right. So I don't worry about vocals. They're the last thing that I give a shit about. Yeah, there is an output going from Pro Tools directly to the stream. That's exactly how it's happening. Are you guys not hearing the stream or the sound on on YouTube? Should be. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I gotta stop reading the comments because people send me off. Bro, yeah. All right, we're gonna have this conversation. All right? There's fucking limitations to this goddamn shit. There is shit that makes this hard. I want to play it out the speaker. I literally have to either set up some sort of complicated, like fucking gate and then or have an on-off switch from my microphone I'm going to forget about and do. I can't add any more technology into this fucking thing. It has to be the least amount of technology that you can do, or I'm not going to be able to do it because I just don't have time to spend 3 hours setting shit up every week. Crackhead ass people complaining about shit. I actually believed it this time because I was over here. Before I went to set up, OBS is crap, bro. it's like good, don't get me wrong, because like thank you for existing, but it's like every time I set it up, I got to do something different. It's not working properly. Like it doesn't recognize my display all of a sudden. Like nothing's changed, but it's still being a like anyway. I guess this is how people actually. I'm having like a moment right now where I'm realizing that this is exactly how people feel about Pro Tools, and I don't feel that way at all. I love Pro Tools. I think Pro Tools is like, it does everything the way I want it to. When it fucks up, I'm usually like, oh yeah, that was my fault. I asked it to do a complicated process at the wrong time in the wrong sequence. I should know better because this is the program I use every single day. That's how people who are good with OBS probably feel. They probably look at people like me and like, you fucking noob ass idiot, can't even run fucking OBS. And I'm over here like, oh, right, yeah, no, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. But, you know, whatever. Anyway, back to mixing. All right, so everything's going out this instrument bus. And I do prove this to myself by doing this. You know, randomly selecting a part of the song, making sure nothing is playing. By the same token, if I unmuted all these vocals... Cool, we're done with that. Great, now we're good. At this point, I will actually add a master bus. Bam. All right, so on my master fader is going to be nothing. I'm not putting anything on my master fader. You know why I'm not putting anything on my master fader? Because I don't know shit about the song yet. Like, people who start this top-down mixing thing, it's like, what? You're like, if you start with anything on your master bus, you're starting by coloring, right? Which if you're good enough, I'll get into your brain about how that's like a okay idea if you know what you're doing. But if you don't really know what you're doing, you are just going to make 1,000 fucking corrective decisions along the way. Like the whole way to get to where you need to be. You're going to make all these corrective decisions because you had a 2 dB cut in 250 hertz on your master bus when you started. Like, what? Don't put anything on your master bus. Don't start with anything on your master bus. Like, what are you guys doing? All right. I know I got my shit. I'm going to go back up here to my instruments. Let's start listening. All right, so I know this bass exists. This is probably obviously the biggest element to this song I can see. First of all, covers the whole song, and it's a bass. This is going to be a fundamental element, and it will need to be dealt with immediately, early, right? The other thing, obviously, I can tell this is a 4-on-the-floor kick across the whole track. This is definitely going to be like a very house-style drum beat. So, kick and snare going to be very important. I can see there's a lot of percussion stuff. Just start thinking about the kick first. So, oh, somebody didn't do something right. Oh, bro, how's there? I didn't clear out my buses. I'm an asshole. This is me this time. Normally, one would go into my buses. Ooh, I got somebody else's template on here. What the hell is going on? Oh, okay, so here's what we're actually going to do. We are going to blow out all of this. There we go. Hit some default. Bam. Great. Grand. Now we don't have any bullshit in my session. There we go. All right, so let's listen to this. Kick sounds great already in context, putting it with the bass. All right, I already know it is going to be everybody's first question whether we should sidechain that bass or not. If ever there was a time to sidechain a bass, this may be it. However, we're generally professionals in this world. And I generally believe that if somebody sent me something and it was not sidechained, it wasn't intended to be. And sidechaining is not my first reaction to almost any solution ever. So in this situation, I'm just going to start looking at how to EQ and compress these things out of each other's way. Already, that sounds better. One move. I made one move, and the kick and bass are playing together much nicer. The kick seemed like the more dominant low-end thing to me, so I took out a bit of what I heard of the kick, which is like right around here. That's like kind of real powerful. It's the power of the kick on this one, because it's got a lot of top on this, but I can feel, because I have a sub underneath me, that the bottom of this kick is really important. Right? And the bass, we don't care about that. We care a lot more about the... If we were hearing and feeling the bass in this song the entire time the way this is, brutal, I think. Now, kick-wise, there is actually a little bit we can do here, I think. Now, normally, I would not do that like that. I would definitely do this. Also, I am going to find INST dash. Actually, oops. There we go. Just need a little rename there. That was bothering me a lot. This should just say bass. Sorry. Okay. All right. So fresh bass. I am not using this 1176 for. I am not using this 1176 for compression. It is going to be compressing, but I'm not using it. I'm using it for color. It's a different thing. If you looked at this signal, obviously this doesn't need compression, right? Let's be real here. This is not for compression, you know? It is a solid signal. Now, one could say part of it is that I'm trying to get a little bit of this tail to work out a little bit. I guess that is part of where the compression is coming in, but a lot of it is flavor more than anything. It's like just a sound I like. Yeah, but keep in mind, it is not a cowbell, for the record. Here, by the way, this is like, it's a sound thing. Listen to it. It's like all the tone is down low, right? Nothing above that is there. The above it is like it's the tail of the reverb. I just want more of the knock of it, not so much of the tight high end shit. Interesting. Cool. I mean, that's a cool sound. It's like definitely. This is one of those. Oops, that's not what I wanted. This is one of those sounds that you got to be real smart with, because it's labeled a snare, you know. So like in your brain, you might be thinking about making it like a forward snare, but this isn't that type of thing. I don't think. I don't think you put this snare like all the way forward the way you would like a snare. Now, see what I just did? I just kind of boosted a little bit of a higher frequency stuff on this, but then I turned it down, you know, because like I want less of that. There's like many ways to skin a cat is all I'm saying. Let's see what this is. Wow. All right, so this thing's an interesting thing. I can hear already it has good motion back and forth. Normally, one of the things that these things sounds like this that are repetitive throughout an entire track, they can be the worst fucking things you've ever heard. Like if you put something like this in a track and it is blasting the entire time, you grow to hate that sound so much. So you got to sneak sounds like this in and out. So you accentuate the things that are cool about it, the fact that it's moving back and forth. So I'm boosting the side information only, which is meaning that like if I boosted all of that information at the high end, you would not get as much of the shape of it moving back and forth. But because I'm only boosting the side information, it's changing as it goes through. When it's mostly in the middle, it loses a little bit of volume, which means that it's ducking behind a vocal. It's ducking behind a main thing that's happening in the middle. But as it's on the sides, it's louder. That's like a super big brain move or whatever. I'm also cutting off a lot of the low end on this thing because it takes up a lot of space. And I want to remember that this thing's important, so I'm going to change the color of it to something flagrant. Yeah, that. Let's do that. And that is something I would absolutely add some, like, tape saturation sound to. You don't want that sound to be too in your face. It'll get annoying really fast. All right, so we got some rides, hats, you know. I think usually hats, the only thing that always bothers me about them is they're just straight down the center. Everybody always puts, this is one of these things. I will definitely do this if this comes to me like this. Oh, this one. It's this one and this one. Why did you get weird like that? That's so weird. Bam. Just combine the damn tracks, man. Why I gotta have a left and a right of a ride? What? Oh, we're going to have some questions about what was going on with this. Why does he have... Sometimes you got to make some decisions. I see. So what he actually means, right, when he says this ride center, ride left and right, you got to decipher things, right? You got to decipher things. What he did, right, this ride center, this is a mono down the middle ride. That's what he means. When he said ride left and right, which were just the same thing, I just took out the, you know, the mono or the non-used sides and combined them, right? This is now stereo. It's definitely more right than left. It's weird. I mean, it's... Yeah, it just sounds stereo. That's all it is. So this guy was intentionally... But why he put them both at the same time... That gets interesting. We're going to make a unilateral decision and decide that doesn't need to be there. Although... It makes sense. Fuck him. All right. It's a weird choice, but I'm going to let it ride. Yeah, here's a thing that I think people are afraid to admit to a lot. I am not going to change anything about these hats. I don't think there's any reason to. They sound fine. Now, as I go along, I might find later on that they're in the way of something that bothers me. But for right now, I think it's fine. I also I don't like get too deep into mixing. Like there's like layers of mixing. This is like my first